Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 4 of our My Team career mode as we make our way to the circuit of Shanghai, China. As always, we jump right on into qualifying. We're in Q2 because we made it out of Q1. We have turned up the difficulty to 105, so let's take you for a lap on board with the Salty Peanut Racing car here at Shanghai. Across the line, keep the car all the way to the left, using up all the curb into turn 1, and it's all about trail braking into turn 1. But as we know, our car likes to do a bit of that four-wheel drifting, so we lose a little bit of time as a result, just in general to everyone else. Short shifting on the exit of a 2 to minimize the wheel spin, let the car out, and now just the shortest line as you make your way to the right hand hairpin. 100 meters, slow it right down to about 50 miles an hour, and again, short shift on exit, so easy to lose the rear. Flat out through this long left-hander. With our cars a little bit tricky, drop it down into 4th now for the sweeping right, pull it all the way over as you drop it down into 3rd for the double left-hander, short shifting up to 4th and 5th. Again, super easy to lose the rear end here at China. 100 meters onto the brakes, so drop it down into 2nd gear. We run a little bit wide and now just squeeze the power on. Super patient, even through this long right-hander, you just have to monitor your throttle input. However, we are almost 2/10 up on our lap time, and indeed we are now. DRS open, and as you guys know, my wheel likes to have a bit of issues with that DRS button. Just before the 100-meter marker board, brake down into 1st gear, turn, full lock, using up as much of the curb as you can on the apex, and into the final corner, nice and late on the brakes. So 4th gear, squeeze the power, using up all of the track, and straight line to complete our lap. And that is a lap here at Shanghai, and it was good enough for P11. Once again, we always seem to get that fantastic P11 number, but I'm super happy with that. If you ignore the top 2, we're within a second of Alex Albon, and half a second of, Verstappen, Lance Stroll, and all of these guys. So if we just find a little bit of improvements with our own driving and with the car developments itself, don't forget this is on 105 AI, we've turned things up, we're right there and we can really battle for these points now. So I'm super happy with that, but without further ado, let's jump right on into the race. So lining up on the grid, let's get our strategy sorted. I want to turn the fuel down because we know how little our car drinks in terms of fuel. And we're going to go hards, mediums. We're not going to pit lap 14. We'll pit like lap 15 or 16 or something like that. Maybe even lap 20 and try to go softs until the end. So let's jump right on in then. Knock it down into lean and put it in overtake. 11,000 RPM, give or take. We're at 11,400 for the start. We get a bad initial getaway and a bad later getaway, but either way, around the outside into turn 1, we keep it nice and tidy as now we look to just squeeze past Lance Stroll. We've got Carlos ahead of us as well, but we are on the hard tires, so we're not going to have as optimal traction as the Racing Point alongside us, and Stroll will hold on to P10, but we stick in P11, so we can't really ask for too much more. Nice and late on the brakes, we almost run into the back of Danny Rick, but we're able to get the brakes on just enough, and Stroll will hold on to P10 around the outside. But all of that being said, I'm pretty happy with how this start has gone. Obviously, we're on these hard tires. We've seen what happened when we were on the softer tires later on in the race. You remember back to Australia and Bahrain where that really came into play. But now we just need to keep Norris behind us and focus on just trying to stay within a second to Stroll, so that when his tires do start falling off, when DRS kicks in, we can just stick with that Racing Point just a little bit. We cut to lap 2 and we are within a second of Lance Stroll, but then Norris decides, you know what, I'm going to battle you. Norris is on the medium tires, we're on the hards. We hold it down the inside into turn 4, and that is us. It's still in P11, but Stroll now over a second ahead of us, and after that we just weren't able to stick within range. And there's that four-wheel drift that we were talking about. We saw it happen a lot at Vietnam. It's happened a lot less here at China, but it has definitely been noticeable in the handling of Dassault Alpine racing car. So hopefully with more upgrades it'll get better and better, but Norris gets a much better run coming through turn 2, round the outside once again, but we're able to keep track position down the inside into turn 4. And now Stroll 2 seconds up the road, and it's going to be pretty difficult for us to close back in. Lap 5, exactly the same place. Norris gets a really good run coming out of turn 2, through 3, and into 4. He looks for the outside, we hold the inside, and we keep the position. And you can see Perez closing in as well, and there's a bit of a train starting to form. You might be able to see that on the mini-map. But lap 6, Norris wasn't able to do it into turn 4, so he's going to try to do it into the hairpin. He's late on the brakes, I'm later, I take the position, I hold the position. I don't know how we get a warning for collision with Norris because I did not feel any contact, but now it is Sergio who's ahead of Lando, so because it is that racing point, we might struggle a bit more to keep him behind just because they'll have a little bit more straight line speed, especially on that back straight. Lap 9, so remember last time was lap 7, lap 9 now heading into sector 3. If you go late on the brakes, down into second gear. Sergio tries to hold it around the outside and we leave him room, but he will be forced to slot in behind us. But of course Sergio is going to have a DRS on the back straight. How much ERS do we use? We were on 74% and we're going to use a whole bunch of it. As Lando closing in as well. This is going to be difficult. We try to break the slipstream. We go defensive. Lando's there as well. 100 meters. We touch the rear wheel of Sergio, but we keep it all nice and clean. And we are up into P4 as well now. On lap 13, all of the leaders are pitting. And we come out in P2. Bottas is just 3 seconds up the road, but we don't have a chance in hell of catching him. He's on fresh hard tires. Yeah. And lap 14, the others, they pitted on lap 13. By the others, I mean Lando and company. And round the outside tries Hamilton. But we hold on to the position. Our tire wear is at almost 40%. So we could go for another 3 laps at the least and maybe try softs. But I want track position. I don't want the others to get that big undercut on me. So I'm probably going to try to pit as soon as possible. As Hamilton with the DRS, he makes it look easy because guess what, guys? It is easy. Hamilton up to P2, and it looks like Mercedes are back in form with the 1-2 as things stand. We've got Verstappen 4 seconds behind us, and Danny Kvyat as well, who's a further few seconds down the road. Lap 15, we decide to pit, and we definitely had it in the tires to go another 3 laps and then, or 4 laps and then pit for softs to the end, but I think you guys saw how far Hamilton was ahead when I came in the pits, and I reckon we were losing about a second a lap to the likes of Lando and Sergio, so I thought I'll just put on the mediums. There's no safety car coming, it seems, so yeah, I just whacked on the mediums and decided to play a bit more safe and go for track position. Lancer sweeps past us, but we crucially come out ahead of Sergio and Lando. Lap 16, we only need to do 13 laps. The exact same number of laps that the likes of Stroll or that the likes of Sergio and Lando did. And as you can see, we're right on the back of Lance through the left hand of turn 2. We have a little think about going down the inside into 4, but we're too far back. And don't forget, Stroll has been on these hard tires since I think about lap 9 or something. Cutting a little bit later into the lap. We make our way through the long sweeping right hander. We're right on the back of Lance, so we should have this position in the bag. And Lance is in P6, not P7. That's because Charlie Leclerc has pitted. Either way, we go for the outside of Stroll, not the inside. 100 meters, nice and late. We leave Stroll enough room for him to go over the curb, because that is the racing line. If you guys think I squeezed him, do let me know in the chat. Either way, we are up now to P6. We cut to the penultimate lap of the race, and Charles Leclerc has been catching us hand over fist. We pulled a nice gap actually to Lando Norris, who's now 6 seconds down the road. Our last lap wasn't the greatest, or this lap I should say wasn't the greatest, so Charles Leclerc has closed in. We were keeping the gap at about 3 seconds, and then he just started catching by over a second a lap. So we just need to keep it nice and tidy. Charles got DRS on the start-finish straight, and we've kept about 40% ERS. Let me know in the comments as well if you like how long I'm leaving the clips, whether you like it longer, whether you want more or less content in these videos. I don't know if you'd prefer shorter or longer episodes. In general, always open to feedback. Into turn 4, this is one of the AI's favourite points to try to overtake us, but Charlie Leclerc is a little bit too far back, and we're going to hold on to P6 for now. Alex Albon's 19 seconds up the road. We've got no chance in hell of catching up to the first of the Red Bulls. Our eyes are firmly looking at the track in front of us and the mirrors, because it is full of red Ferrari. We go to the inside, we use a bit of ERS, but I know that I need to keep it all for that back straight. Charles can't hold it around the outside like Lewis Hamilton tried to just before we made our pit stop, actually. Onto the back straight. Now watch that ERS deployment. I am giving it absolutely everything, trying to break the toe from Charles just by moving to the inside, to the outside. Norris has closed in by quite a few tenths of this out. We break nice and late, but a bit too late, and now Leclerc's going to have a good chance, but he just can't find the traction because he's on hard tyres. He pitted around about lap 18, so I thought he should have put on softs or mediums, but he didn't. Either way, through the final corner, and we will take P6 here at Shanghai.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
I will definitely take P6. Best of the rest, really. Well, more than best of the rest, because we finished ahead of Charles. I am very happy with that. Once we get some new parts in, I feel like we can challenge the Red Bull as well, but interview time.
Let's have your thoughts. Your team must be ecstatic with how you're performing.
Yeah, the team are absolutely thrilled with how I'm performing. I am, of course, the team owner, as you may know, and it's actually a company policy that all members of all personnel, all members of staff must be pleased with how I'm performing, and if they're not, they get sacked. Yeah.
It wasn't the cleanest race today, was it?
Well, I don't know what race you were watching, you blind daft cow, but it was pretty clean out there, so maybe you were busy watching NASCAR or something, because out on the racetrack, it was clean. All of us, we gave respect to each other. I don't know what happened. There were no safety cars, VSC, didn't see a single yellow. So, honestly, I think you must be losing your eyes. I would recommend visiting a doctor, because the race was perfectly clean. I had some great battles out there with Lewis, Lando, even Sergio as well. So, really happy with the battles that we had and the amount of respect that we were able to give to each other. But yeah, I don't know how much they pay you to be a journalist, but if you need a bit of money to get your eyes checked out, just you know where my mailbox is. I'll send you some money.
Great. Well, that's everything.
You know what? I think someone's pretty excited about being called a blind daft core. I think she's into me. Anyway, R&D stuff. As you may have seen, all of our previous parts came through. That is so important. We're going to develop our ICE, just because we've switched our ICE part now. And I just thought I'd just show where we are with the development of everything else. Our chassis is pretty good. Our aero, though, on the other hand, is not the greatest, let's say. So chassis, once we get that new part in, will be pretty much up there with Ferrari. Our aero, though, is atrocious. Our powertrain, though, is mediocre. It's alright. But yeah, that's been it for this episode. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. And if you did, do drop a like and subscribe for more. You can follow me on Twitter as well for all of my commentary shenanigans. Twitter, Milky Cereal 73. And you can follow me on Twitch as well, because I do some live streaming there as well. Twitch.tv/MilkyCereal1. We also have merch, link in the description. But until next time, guys, stay milky, and assalamu alaikum.